Welcome to Enlightened Evolution.
I'm Cay.
And I'm Christina.
We're here to discuss the ebb and flow of our soul's healing and transformation through self-reflection, choosing intentionally, honoring thyself, and following your inner guide.
Thank you for joining this safe space with us. Good morning and welcome to Enlightened Evolution with Cay and Christina. This episode, we're talking about mindfulness. It's a very important topic, so helpful for your life. So I'm really excited about this topic. I wanted to share with you all an update because I know I mentioned, I think in 2 episodes ago, that I was getting Invisalign. Maybe it was longer than that. I had to wait so long to get the actual trays. And I wanted to ask you, when you had it, did you have the little nubs on your teeth?
Yeah, and that it was all listen, I don't want to say
It was all bad.
I was just about to say it's all bullshit. I didn't want to say anything discouraging, but I'm on my cycle and really get my voice during this time. So I will just be honest. Yeah. Did they do that to you? Did they put the cement on your teeth?
Yeah.
And
yeah.
So when the person did it that I had, she didn't like shave it enough. And when they weren't on my teeth, I would get, it felt like daggers poking into my gums. And she's like, well, just put the wax on there. I took a nail file, bitch, and filed that shit down my fucking self because I wasn't about to.
Oh my God. So mine, okay, so she put all the nubs on. She filed them down, then the dentist came through and filed them even more. So I feel good about that, but I'm only 5 days into this. And the first 2 days they were rubbing my gums so raw. So if you're not familiar with Invisalign, you have to wear it for 22 hours out of the day. Newsflash, I'm not wearing it while we're recording, and we're batch recording today. So whatever, it's fine. But anyways, when you're not wearing them, you have these nubs on your teeth that are to sit in the retainers to help move your teeth. But then it feels so weird. They scrape on your gums. My gums are used to it now. The other part is, this is going to be so much fun. I have 40 weeks of retainers, so not a full year, but they're like, oh, you might need revisions at the end. No, thank you. My teeth are already moving actually, and it's only been 5 days. So and they're not even that messed up. Fuck, what was I going to say? Oh, my retainers have a hook on one side, so up here and down here, because in 12 weeks, I get to put a rubber band on them. So I can't wait for that.
Interesting.
Yeah. I feel like there was a part of me, going back to internal family systems, there was a part of me that was like, yeah, this is a great idea. This version of me, not loving it. Don't love it, but I've already committed to paying for these, so I'm going to do it. I hate the inconvenience of having to pop them out anytime I want anything other than water. I have a lisp with them. That's why I'm not recording with them. It's making me super self-conscious. No?
Only when you said page, because the G.
I can hear it in my mind, and it's making me so self-conscious, and I don't love it.
Well, there's pros and cons to them. I did like the fact, obviously, that you don't have braces on, but for me personally, I'm not responsible enough for them, and I lost. Well, I don't know what they cost now, but years ago, I think I spent over $5,000 on them, and I lost them. I've actually told you I just found my very last retainer the other day, and I've miraculously enough, I can still slide it right over my teeth, and it hurts, like they're tight, but I did have my dentist remove. I said, can you just shave the cement off my teeth? Because this is awful.
That's what I was going to ask you, if you ended up going back in and hey, I'm not doing this. Take these nubs off.
Yeah, I did get it done professionally.
Okay.
But it was.
Yeah, that's a lot.
Terrible.
It's so not fun.
Good luck with that.
We'll see if I can see it through.
You'll be
It's giving me anxiety a little bit.
yeah. Well, good luck surviving off water the next 40 weeks. 'Cause
And that's like,
I
I'm obviously gonna lose weight because I love to snack throughout the day. I don't like eating big meals, and I'm feeling forced to, like, okay, if I'm taking these out, because you gotta brush your teeth every time, you gotta clean your retainers every time, and I'm like, "Okay, well,
Mhm.
if I'm taking them out, I'm gonna eat everything I wanna eat right now for this meal," and then
Mhm.
I'm experiencing a lot of hunger,
Aw. Yeah, that was super hard for
which is
me.
probably good.
Aw. Such a grazer.
Yeah,
Like you
me too. I like small meals throughout the day
Mhm. Mhm.
or snacks.
Yes.
Alright, so jumping into mindfulness, I have this book. Let me get it close to our video here. It's called Practicing Mindfulness 75 Essential Meditations to Reduce Stress, Improve Mental Health, and Find Peace in the Everyday. It's by Matthew Sockolov. It's Sockolov. Not sure how to pronounce that.
Mm.
I was gifted this by one of my nurses when I was an assistant nurse manager. She gave it to me as a Christmas gift, and it was right after my dad passed. So I wanted to read the
Oh,
little note that she wrote in it. She wrote, Christina, may you find peace and resilience in the new year. I won't mention her name, but honestly, I want to get her on the podcast as well. She actually owns her own resiliency company. I'm
nice.
trying to I think it's called Resilient Professionals. And she basically, I mean, she realized the burnout that was happening in healthcare, and she has all these tools for being resilient. So maybe I will reach out to her and see if she would like to come on the pod. She's a
Th
really sweet lady.
that is sweet. That was sweet of her to do that.
I know.
That was in
I was gonna
was that in
what?
Georgia or Michigan? Were you here?
Michigan.
Michigan, yeah.
Mhm. Mhm. When I was 2019. She
Yeah.
dated it. Says Christmas 2019.
Aw, that's
So
sweet.
sweet.
I
I
love when
wanted to
people
ask
gift
you.
books.
Oh, yeah. I'm doing that more and more lately. I love the idea of, instead of giving like a card at a birthday party or something, gifting a book and writing a little note in it as your
Mhm.
card. Like,
Oh, that's sweet,
because I'm
yes.
going to be honest, most cards that people give me, I throw them away.
I do too, and
Unless it's
sometimes
like super meaningful,
yeah.
I'm going to throw it away probably.
Mhm. Yeah, mindful about my
But I
clutter,
also,
Aki.
I know. I wish I would have kept more cards from my dad, and maybe
I
I
bet.
do have some somewhere. I don't know.
Hmm.
Also, he wasn't like, I think a lot of it I I had Jordan put together a jewelry thing for me, and my dad had made me a jewelry armoire. He like stained it the color that I wanted. He went and found one and then like made it how I wanted it. But I have a bunch of jewelry pieces that I got from him, but I think that it was always like my mom purchasing it, and she's like, "Here, you can give this to her as her
Mhm. Oh,
gift."
yeah. That's so
But
typical.
I
My
still like
parents did
hold
that
them so
too.
dear.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I'm like, "Oh, this is my necklace from my dad," even if he didn't pick it out.
Aw.
Just let me think that.
Mhm.
I wanted to ask you when you first learned about meditation or mindfulness. Because going into the research for this, I was reminded of when I was first introduced to it.
Oh, goodness. I feel like it's I mean, at least 10 years ago, and it's it's been a work in progress, like, I'm a work in progress. I, like, know my patterns and my behaviors and my cycle and how it's affected and my triggers, like, I used to not be good at being mindful, or
Was there any one thing that kind of introduced you to it, or it just kind of like slowly crept in?
you know So I went with somebody almost like 10 years ago to this store. It was one of those it was one like it had the crystals in it and all the sage, and it had some of those books in there, and I think it was a chakra book. And so the chakras, learning about the chakras, it like that's what opened my whole world to I guess like my spirituality and my beliefs now. Um but it's all like being mindful. It's you versus you all the time. It's never about anybody else. I mean,
Mhm.
you can blame people, or people. Well, I shouldn't say blame. You can blame them. You will suffer if you do that. But I think that obviously people can hurt you, but and have an effect on you. But I think being mindful is just the impact that you have on yourself and others. And I think I started that journey 10 years ago and still evolving, still on my journey, still. You mentioned the internal family systems. I'm halfway through that book right now. Love it.
Yay.
Absolutely love it. I think everybody should read that book.
It's great. It's really
Mhm.
good. I think everyone, like, I just, in preparation for this episode, I dove back into this book and I realized, I love rereading stuff, especially
Mhm.
from a different mind frame. I was in a horrible place when I was first gifted this book. So rereading it now, I'm like, oh, so many good things. I mean, he goes into great detail of like just the basics and things. And we're going to touch on that. But then he also offers so many practical meditations to use. But I realized my first introduction to meditation or mindfulness, and I'm going to use these terms interchangeably because they are pretty interchangeable. Um, did you have to take study skills? Well, I guess I didn't have to take it. I took as like a filler class for my degree, but where we went to college, they offered it study skills.
I don't think I took that one, no.
It was like one of the, what are they called? The extra classes.
Yeah.
And so I took it for like an easy A, basically.
Mhm.
And it was an easy A. But that professor, she would do guided meditations with us. And she would have us all like close our eyes. She would turn the lights off in the classroom and she would do guided meditations with us. And I had totally forgot about that. And it's crazy because later on, as a nurse, I took care of her mother and I saw her and I was like, I remember you.
Aw.
But yeah, she was my first kind of intro to it. And then a girl I was in nursing school with got me to go to yoga with her. And so I got more into it and it just kind of snowballed from there.
I love
But I
that.
wanted to give, yeah, I wanted to give some definitions of kind of what mindfulness and meditation are. So I took some quotes from the book. Mindfulness calls for action, it calls for personal investigation. So, like you mentioned, it's all about you and your internal. Um, it can be understood as being present with clarity, wisdom, and kindness. Meditation and mindfulness are usually used interchangeably. Meditation refers to anytime you put effort into being mindful and present, not president. Um, this does not just happen on a meditation cushion. It can be in any daily activity. And that's really what this book goes into as well, of how to incorporate it throughout your day, which I love.
Mhm. I do love that.
I also have 9 aspects of mindfulness. You were going to say something, though.
No, I
I don't
wanna
want to
hear
cut you
'em.
off. Okay.
No, go ahead.
So being fully present, taking that time to cultivate what it's like to be present. So not being distracted by the world around you or by future thinking or past thinking. Seeing clearly. So cultivating a wisdom to see clearly what you're experiencing in the present moment, which could be as simple as like identifying, I'm feeling angry right now. I'm feeling irritable. I'm feeling joy, whatever that might be. Letting go of judgment. And this is a big part, and this is one I still struggle with. Letting go of value judgments. So, as you become aware of things you experience, so a lot of times when we experience anger or those uncomfortable feelings, we add a value judgment to it. Like, this is a bad feeling. I shouldn't be feeling this way, or I need to get out of this
Mhm.
feeling. And that's not what it's about. It's about experiencing it, no matter if it feels good or bad.
Yeah, acknowledging it and just being curious instead of being angry about it and putting that label on it.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I've found of being mindful the most. I find myself taking a step back from the judgment, being curious about things and getting to the root of the root of whatever uncomfortable emotion I'm feeling, because regardless of how spiritual and mindful you are, you're still going to have uncomfortable feelings and emotions and interactions with people and triggers all day long. And I've done so much better about processing through and being non-reactive.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't think it's really avoiding anymore. It's just not putting so much energy into things that just don't serve me.
Yeah. Which is one of the aspects of mindfulness, is just allowing everything to belong, allowing things to be what they are and not having this urge that you need to change them, which is something I definitely struggle with.
What
Um
wanted to change things?
mhm. Mhm.
Yeah. I think that yeah, I don't yeah, wanting to change how, in like a people pleasing way, or um
um like when things are going wrong, I want to quickly fix them, whether it's within
mhm.
my own life or those around me. Like I always want to be fixing them
Yeah. Yeah, I can
instead of allowing them to be.
yeah, so just maybe just accepting comes along with mindfulness, just
Mhm.
accepting things for how they are, or people for who they are, and
Yeah.
mhm.
There's two very short quotes that I reflect on when I catch myself in these moments of wanting to change uncomfortable moments. And I can't remember who, if it was Alan Watts
Oh, I love
or
them.
yeah, or Eckhart Tolle, or it might be Ram Dass. It was one of those three. But in one of their talks, they said, and this too. So you get fired from your job. Instead of ruminating on it, you say, and this too. Whatever comes to you, and this too, meaning kind of it is what it is.
Mhm.
I'm going to experience this. It may be difficult, maybe not difficult, but it's part of the process. It's part of this journey that I'm on. The other one is from my Christian background. I have this on like a wooden sign in my house, and it says, "It is well with my soul."
Oh, I love that.
It's a very common Christian. I think it's a hymn. It's one of my favorite hymns. And it's kind of wild. Jordan and I both, like every once in a while, we'll listen to some Christian music, even though I don't practice Christianity. There's some of the songs that still, because just because I don't follow Christianity, there's a lot of the messages that I do still follow. One of them, "It Is Well With My Soul." I love that song and I love the message that comes along with it. Um, and just kind of reminding yourself of that in difficult times. Like, no matter what, it's all good. Or
Yeah.
it is what it is.
Yeah.
um, this one kind of ties into it as well, and I'm probably not going to pronounce this word right. Being equanimous, like equal,
Mhm.
remaining balanced, uh, bringing the same energy for all situations, basically. Uh, so bringing the same attention to all aspects of what you experience. One I really like is cultivating a beginner's mind. There was a time in my life, probably when I was young and naive, that I felt like kind of like I wanted to be a know it all.
Mhm.
And there's probably still people in my life that think I am a know it all.
I mean, but
Probably people that I work with.
sometimes if you know, you know.
Yes.
But no,
But
I get what you're saying, because sometimes people think they know, and some things can go without being said.
Mhm.
And I don't know, as I've like had this mindfulness more and more throughout my life as I'm getting a little bit older, do you find yourself not even being triggered by the same things anymore? Like you don't even need to say what you know, or you don't even need to put them
Yep.
back in their place. It's almost
I
like
used to respond to everything, and now I'm like, they'll figure it out.
yeah. Yeah, I like saying okay and smiling has saved me so much grief and wasted
Mhm.
energy. It's like, okay.
Yeah.
I
And actually having the peace behind it, because I think
Mhm.
before I maybe saw that modeled by people, and I was like, "Oh, that's how I'll respond." But I would say okay, and then I would ruminate on it.
Yeah.
So, it's really the piece that goes behind it of, "Okay, I'm good
Yeah.
with that."
I've been so much more, I would say, in the past, probably like 6 months. I've noticed and it's usually at work. It will with my kids too, because I mean, kids are irritating. But certain things will pop up, or they'll say certain things or do certain things. And it's I witness myself not even being reactive to that anymore. Like it's not even dysregulating my nervous system anymore. The things that used to, or the things,
Yeah.
even if I got myself to the point of self-control of, okay, I don't need to speak on these things anymore, I would still be riled up inside. And I
Mhm.
don't even feel that anymore. So it is a
Yeah.
practice. It is it takes a while to
Oh, yeah.
not even feel certain trigger, to be mindful of things or not
And that's
react.
important. Yeah, that's important to mention about mindfulness in general. It's a continued practice, and you should not get frustrated with yourself or think that you need to reach some certain level. Just make it a practice to continue to improve on, and
Mhm.
that really should be your goal. And that's what, like, cultivating a beginner's mind, it's embracing learning new things and embracing the fact that you don't know it all. I love that I don't know it all. I love and bringing it back to religion, like I used to think that I had to have a solid knowledge of this is what happens when you die and this is how the world was created and all these different philosophical things. I love saying I don't know what happens when we die or just different things, and I'm okay with that. Like it doesn't give me fear that I don't know what happens. And
Yeah.
I would be kind of insane to say that I do know what happens because none of us know what
Yeah.
happens. There's tons of theories, but
It's the greatest kept secret.
yeah. And this is applicable to even smaller things, like even in healthcare. Like healthcare is always evolving. We think that like we get into things and we're like, okay, I know everything there is to know, or we have a good idea, and then new treatments come out, new science is developed, and we have to change how we do stuff.
Oh,
So,
yeah, especially at work and especially in healthcare. It is scary when new doctors and nurses come in and they just know everything and their ego is massive.
it's
And
wild,
it
right?
is. And I've been a nurse for a little while now, and I still walk into work every day like I don't know shit. And it always crosses my mind like, am I going to know what to do? And I have the confidence to know that I will know what to do, or to be able to ask the
Mhm.
right questions or pull the team together to help me. But it's scary, really, the people that think that they know everything.
Yes.
And oof.
We kind of already mentioned being patient is a part of mindfulness, not
Mhm.
clinging to specific outcomes, but just allowing yourself to progress the way you're going to progress. Um, Making a friend with yourself is part of mindfulness. So, starting to show kindness towards yourself. And that really comes into that judgment as well, not judging yourself when, like, if I sit down to do an actual seated meditation and all these fears and things start popping in my head, not judging myself for, oh, you can't even focus for 7 minutes to do a meditation, but showing kindness to myself of, oh, those things are really stressing you out. Let's release them for now and we'll come back to them later.
Yeah, I love that. I think that's the one of the biggest things that I've gained, just being gentle with myself. And I'm mindful of, like, we've talked about parts therapy, of the parts of me that are hard on myself, and it's just like, okay, today I don't have that energy. I don't feel that well. I do have some things I need to do, but it's okay if I rest. I don't need to listen to that inner critic, no matter what it is. Or if, you know, I think a lot of times in romantic relationships, it's the hardest to be mindful in those because
Mhm.
we're triggered so much emotionally. I think you and I could give each other solid advice all day long. Oh, I would handle it like this. And you would tell me the same exact thing. And we can say it from a non emotional standpoint. And then when
Once
we're,
you get in the heat of it.
yeah, you're like, oh, I said that I said that I shouldn't have. I should have said that. I should have expressed myself. I should have set that boundary or whatever it may be. I think that's when it's probably the hardest for me personally is when I'm in
Yeah.
romantic relationships to be mindful.
Mhm. I recognized the other day, and I've said this before, I think I made a TikTok about it. Don't ask questions that you don't want the answer to.
Ooh,
Because I remember one
amen.
time I asked Jordan a question about, like, which body type he preferred, and I did not love the answer to that. And I found myself going to ask him something about myself, like, "Am I blah, blah, blah?" And I came to the realization before I blurted that out, I am my own worst critic, and the thoughts I have about myself are
Yeah,
probably worse than what anyone else has about me,
absolutely. Yeah.
and I'm already dealing with that inner critic. I actually don't need to ask anyone else what they think about me because I think we've got it covered.
Hmm. Yeah, or just, and not only that, but uh, on this date later, I thought about sending him like a picture of my outfit I'm gonna wear. Like, do you like it? Actually, no, I'm gonna wear it because I like it. Doesn't like. I hope that he doesn't hate it, but I don't need to ask you your opinion of it
No.
or how I'm gonna do my hair today. Like, I don't know. Like, just I don't need anybody else's validation. I can feel
Yeah.
good on my own.
Yep.
If I like it,
And
I
that can be
like it.
hard to sit in
Mhm.
that.
Yeah.
Which brings me to the ninth aspect of mindfulness, which is honoring yourself.
Mhm.
And starting where you are, like being okay with where you're at and making progress and falling back. One of the things that really threw me for a loop this week, and I've already I mentioned part of it to you in our text messaging. So I'll bring it up briefly here, but something happened yesterday that also triggered it. So I recently saw a picture of a bully from high school, and so I've been working through so many major traumas and I've been making good progress. And I really did not know that the bullying that happened to me as a young person, I didn't think it really had much effect on me because of all the other traumas that happened. But seeing this picture of this bully brought back this flood of emotions of like, oh, I actually have more work to do here,
Mhm.
which can be frustrating because you're like, oh, I'm making so much progress and I'm doing all these things and I'm processing all these things. And then I realize, girl, now that we've dealt with these things, we got a whole nother layer of things to deal with.
Yes.
And yesterday I went to a pool party with people I work with, and there was a sense of some cattiness, kind of that feeling like when you walk into a room and everyone stops talking because they were probably just talking about you.
Yeah. Oh, that's too
And
bad.
I felt that when I was there, and it
I
felt
can't
gross.
I'm gonna side note, I can't believe that you took personal time to go to a work party.
It was during work hours.
Oh, so you
So
got paid to be in the pool.
correct.
Oh, okay. All right.
Correct.
Okay, that makes better sense.
It
I'm like
wasn't personal time. I was home by 5 o'clock.
okay.
We have like monthly team building things that we do, and that was our team building thing.
That's nice.
But only 4 people were there out of our team of, I think we have 13 or 14 people. So, I mean, it was fine. The girls' house was gorgeous. It gave me great ideas for when we finish our basement. But
Mhm.
I just left feeling kind of like I just sat with some mean girls kind of deal. I don't know.
Oh, I'm sorry.
There wasn't like any shit talking going on. And it could have totally been me internalizing it because that's the other part of it. Like with this Invisalign, I'm becoming that self-conscious. I'm remembering what it was like when I was 12 to 14 and had braces and how self-conscious I was and getting made fun of for having braces. And
Oh.
it's bringing me back to that mindset, which it's frustrating, but it's fine because it's something I need to work through. And I'm kind of excited to work through it.
I think that's the hardest part of having relationships. I feel like that sometimes too, like for whatever reason they don't like you. Like there's something about you they don't like and it's like everyone wants to be liked. But also is it your intuition though to like you're probably spot on. They probably were talking shit.
Yeah.
You know,
I mean, two of them have been known to talk shit before, so that
yeah.
is possibly.
The more mindful you
Possibly.
become in the present moment, I think your intuition increases when you stay in the
Mhm.
present moment.
Absolutely.
When you're constantly dwelling on the past or constantly anxious about the future, I think it gets misconstrued on and your ability to see things, you know.
Yeah. What, benefits have you noticed from practicing mindfulness?
Like an increased information, like processing speed. Um
Mm.
when things whether, when I'll say interactions, it's mostly interactions. Like I can be pretty mindful and at peace when I'm just sitting by myself, but interacting with the outside world, as I've been practicing mindfulness, I can quickly move through triggers, not dwell on a very specific thing somebody said or a way somebody made me feel. It's like not attached to it, not attached to that feeling. I don't want to say this in like a negative light, but sometimes you can be like, fuck that, fuck them, move on. It doesn't need to affect you,
Yeah.
anymore today. Um, reduce, rumination, which kind of is pulled into the first thing I said. Stress reduce. My anxiety and stress has gone down 80%, I would say. My memory it increases my memory, being more mindful and in the present moment.
Absolutely.
The ability to stay focused,
Yeah.
less emotionally reactive to things. Um,
That's a huge one.
something I've really realized being a people pleaser and judging myself and feeling ashamed and feeling guilty about things, that's a me problem. And I can quickly recognize when somebody is upset with me for a certain reason. Is it something I actually did or is that a you problem? Because I'm no longer in a people pleasing state of mind. I think being mindful helps you through whatever type of religious practice you have or the resources or online content, your therapist, you find ways of developing more skills for self-observation. And
Absolutely.
I sometimes it's hard to admit to yourself what you observe. I think that falls into that. But I've gotten better at just loving and accepting myself, giving myself grace, and just staying in a more curious mindset and like my playful inner child wanting to learn more about myself and go deeper within myself and pull apart those layers, like you said, than being angry and judging and dwelling. And so it's more of like a playful thing. Like, why do I think like this? Why did I react like this? And it's
Yeah,
also
you're
it's also interesting for me to observe and be curious about other people I truly love and care about and try to understand them deeper too, because I mean, it's hard. It's really hard to understand yourself. And
Oh,
so,
yeah.
and we're all wounded. We're all trying to heal. So, trying to get to a deeper place within myself and have grace and understanding, given me the ability to see people in a much different light. Greater satisfaction in relationships when you become more mindful. Your immune system, I think, is stronger, knock on wood. I haven't been sick once, I don't think in 2024 yet.
That's awesome.
Um,
I've literally my work group text thread is just people after people. Oh, I just tested positive for strep. Oh, I just tested positive for COVID. It's like constant. I was really I'm always interested in the like scientific parts in how the actual psychological affects our health. And I was really interested to see how mindfulness can improve your digestion and your immune system.
yeah. I think well, I mean, that's a we could do a whole episode on on your
Oh
digestive
yeah.
enzymes and how your gut affects your brain.
Mhm.
But yeah, and the last thing I have as far as the benefits is the increased intuition when you just stay in the present moment more. And it's hard to stay in the present moment, really.
Oh yeah.
I'm such a planner and a list maker and a dreamer and looking forward to things, and you get it in your mind of how certain things are going to go. I really had to let go of, like, when you make a plan for something, be open to things, having to readjust the plan or having
Yeah.
to, I don't know, go along with something else. Not even like a backup plan, but just be open to like the change and the shifts that happen. You know, you have it in your mind how you want a certain thing to go. And then, well, your flight is now going to be delayed 8 hours and you're going to have to change your whole itinerary. And, it's that, that sucks, like that has really upset me before.
Oh yeah. That's one of the things I've listed is it helps with creative problem solving because it
Mm.
helps you to kind of pause in that moment and think instead of running with your anxiety, stop, and it gives you tools to kind of stop and think and say, "Okay, what can I do?"
Yeah. I think for me, what I always tell myself when something doesn't go as planned, because it would give me like severe anxiety. Like, I remember one time I got all dressed up to go out, and the guy I was going out with just mentioned to me, "Hey, would you rather just stay in and watch a movie instead?" It's like, bitch, I just got
I've already
fucking
gotten ready.
yeah, and it was just like, what the fuck? Like, it irritated me so bad, but maybe he like, the way I was talking or he was just trying to be, like, helpful, like, "Hey, sounds like you're stressed out.
He
Would
might
you"
have sensed your
Yeah,
anxiety
"Would
of,
you"
like, getting
yeah,
ready and all that.
"Would you rather just take a very chill night at home doing nothing, like, snacking out in our pajamas?" And so, like, the whole thing just, like, made me not even wanna go anywhere at all.
Yeah.
I don't wanna do anything with you now. But now I quickly tell myself, like, okay, this disruption in my plans is just saving me from something else. So, what is that saying? God's redirection is God's protection. Is that what it is? So
Mhm. Something like that.
that's kind of the mindset I have now when things don't go exactly my way as they had planned. I'm just like, okay, this is just leading me somewhere better.
Yeah.
And it's not even like a thought anymore. It's just like quickly shifts where I'm so glad I kind of healed from that mindset and that being like attached to the outcomes.
And that's I think it's important, like, you and I have been putting years of work into this, so I don't want anyone listening to feel like they need to be at a certain spot tomorrow with it.
Mhm.
Like, it's all progress. It takes years. That's one of the things I'm a very much instant gratification kind of person. I
Oh,
wanna
yeah.
know the quickest way to get something accomplished,
Yeah.
and things that take time and dedication aren't my best things that I do. So
Yeah, that's probably why I don't work out as much as I
right.
should.
Yeah. So please know that it's a practice. You're going to do great at it sometimes. You're going to fall back on it sometimes. And leaving out the judgment is like the biggest thing you can do is not judging yourself for where you're at in it. I wanted to kind of read through some of the mindfulness practices in here if that's okay.
Yeah, let me hear them.
Um let me start with the most simple one. I recommend this for anyone that's starting mindfulness or meditation. This one is titled Finding the Breath. And I really like in his book, he'll tell you how many minutes this is going to take.
Oh, that's
Um,
nice.
and he also gives like little intros of like when you would want to use this technique or whatever. So for finding the breath, he says, find a comfortable position for the body, usually sitting or laying. Um, you may sit on a yoga mat, meditation cushion, whatever's comfortable to you. Gently allow your eyes to close. If you're listening to this and you're driving, please don't do that. If you're comfortable with your eyes open, some people aren't comfortable being in an open room with their eyes closed. Try focusing on something you can kind of rest your gaze on. The idea is to minimize distractions in your practice. And then bring your awareness to your abdomen, relaxing the muscles there. See if you can feel the natural rising and falling with each breath. Imagine the body is breathing itself so that you're not doing it. From the navel around the obliques, notice the movement with each breath. Take a few deep breaths in like this, and then move your awareness to your chest as you inhale. Tune into the expansion of your lungs, the rising of the chest. As you exhale, feel the contraction and movement. I'm just kind of skipping through some parts here. It says, now bring your awareness to your nostrils. Feel the temperature of the breath that moves through your nostrils, and feel how it might tickle the different parts of your nose and back. And then rest your awareness on the body, breathing in one of these three spots, wherever feels comfortable. And just focus on that in and out. What else does he say? And then once you're kind of ready to come out of that, bring your awareness into your daily life. So, any kind of mindfulness practice is really about becoming aware of each small element, um, each simple element. The further you break it down, the more in the moment you become.
I had my eyes
Um,
closed and followed along, and that was peaceful.
oh, nice.
I love I love that. I love having those breath exercises where it walks you through relaxing specific muscles in your body. I don't realize
The
how
body scan.
yes, I need to do more of those more often. My neck has hurt for like 2 weeks.
That is a great thing to do when you feel, especially your body's tensing up.
Mhm.
He's got body scan in here. There are tons of YouTube videos that offer quick body scans. I usually, if you can't lay flat, wherever you are, you can do it. But I love to lay flat and like scan each part of my body and release the muscles because you don't realize you're tensing in places that you are.
Mhm. Yeah, I've always held
He
it in my
also
neck.
he goes into like cooking mindfully. So, a lot of the times we're busy people, right? We're rushing through the day. We're thinking of the next thing we got to do. I got to go grocery shopping. I got to do this. Got to pick up the kids from school. Got to take them to practice. Got to do all these things. And we don't take the time to be mindful in the moment. And when you think about it, you might be like, oh, well, that's too stressful. Like, I got so many other things I need to do. I don't have the time to be mindful about each step that I take. But really, you do. Like, what are you spending your time doing? You're probably ruminating on other things or
Mhm.
thinking about all the things you have to do in the future. You already know the things you have to do in the future. Let that go. You're going to do them. And if you're a person like me that sometimes forgets, make a list.
Yeah.
If you got it on a list, you can forget about it. You can go back to your list whenever you need to know what you need to do next. But he talks about like with cooking and mindfulness. So before you even go to grab your supplies, envision the meal you're about to cook. Envision what it's going to smell like, what it's going to taste like, how's it going to look, how are you going to prepare it. Then go and grab your ingredients. Take the time to, if you're opening up a bag of parsley, what does that smell like? You're crushing some garlic, what does that smell like? How does it feel in your hands? The sound of the sizzle on the pot. All these little elements of being present in that moment. And it may seem silly, like, okay, why do I need to focus on these little things. Um, but these practices bring you into the other benefits of mindfulness. So, all those other benefits that we just mentioned, it may not seem like it, but practicing being in these tiny little moments helps you to reduce your stress, helps you to improve your memory and focus. Not to say that every time you go to cook, you should be doing this. Do what works for you.
I don't remember where I heard this information from, and I don't do it as often as I should. This was a good reminder. So, when you're cooking, think about the process that fruit or vegetable had to go through to get to your counter. Where did it come from? Where did it grow? Who picked it? Who processed it? Who placed it on that shelf for you to grab? And just like the journey of your food. And this could be a whole nother different conversation too, but that brings you to a place to be more mindful of how you nourish your body. Especially with like meat and dairy products and the sources you're getting those from, or, fast food in those places.
Oh, yeah. And in that, like when you're thinking of, the people that pick this and all these different things, kind of sending them love and light during that time of like, thank you for
Mhm.
doing that job so that I could have this fresh fruit today for my meal, which also benefits you when you step into gratitude. You
Mhm.
produce more serotonin and dopamine.
Yes.
The other part of it too, going into it, is setting those intentions. And I don't do this as often as I should. There's tons of videos of people talking about just speaking your intentions into your water
I've seen that.
and
Y Yes.
yeah, and
You
saying like I want this water to nourish my body, um,
do you remember that
whatever it
cup?
might be.
Do you remember that cup you got me? It has
Oh
my
yeah.
name printed on it, and it's like all the chakras are on there, and it's like, I am love, I don't even know everything that it said, but I am present, I am kind, or I love that cup.
Yeah, that's a good one to help you remember to kind of speak
Mhm.
those things.
Yes.
And he has like eating mindfully, so I guess that's kind of part of cooking mindfully too, but like taking the time to really taste your food, the texture, all those different things. He has a lot in here about unhooking from your thoughts, stopping rumination. He has a whole section for different moods and different mindfulness practices to do with those. So if I'm experiencing fear, what are some things I can do? And a lot of them have little mantras to go with
Mhm.
them.
That's another benefit, I think, of being mindful. I can quickly get to the root of my negative emotions. Like, this is
Yeah.
happening right now. I feel insecure because I'm afraid, because this happened to me in the past. And what I'm experiencing right now within my anxiety I don't really have anything to support why I'm afraid.
Yeah.
Uh,
Something happened to me the other day that was really, it was like an aha moment.
mhm,
And it's from practicing mindfulness. I listened to a song. I posted a TikTok video about this, but I listened to a song that was very emotionally triggering and I was crying and I was feeling these deep emotions. And immediately my brain was like, okay, we need to turn this off. Let's switch to
mhm,
something else. So I started thinking about all the things I needed to do for the podcast. And I caught myself in that moment, and this is where mindfulness comes in. I was able to catch that switch. And it was the first time I actually like recall being able to catch that switch of my mind going into disassociation. And I was
mhm.
like, no, actually, we're gonna continue to process these feelings. We're not gonna jump to something else to escape these feelings right now. And we're gonna sit with this, and that's okay.
That's awesome. I think I can understand that. I think that, yeah, there's times where it's like, "Okay, I can be strong right now. I don't have to feel like this." And it's not even
Hmm.
about being strong or being weak. It's about your feelings being valid. And
Yeah.
it it's therapeutic to just sit there and cry sometimes. I do it more so like during my
Well,
period. But I think that's a time of
Wait,
release anyways, so I
yeah,
just don't I, like, allow myself to do that now.
that's awesome. We all
Mhm.
should.
Mhm.
What else do you have on mindfulness?
I came across this, blog on Pinterest, Lovely Holistic Living, and I think there's a way for you to attach them, but there's a bunch of just really awesome journal prompts to become it's healingsoulfully.com, sorry.
Oh, cool.
Um, a bunch of journaling prompts to become more mindful and just really get to know yourself. And I don't I mean, I could read all 23 if you'd like me to, but I don't see.
Do you want to share a couple that you might find
Yeah.
interesting?
What are 3 things you can start doing today that will help you align you with living the life of your dreams? What is most important what is most important to you in this life? Relationships, career, family, travel, experiences, objects, etc. Why do you feel an attachment to these things? From your
Mm,
from your childhood, do you have any memories that stick out? Why do you think those specific memories are the ones you remember? Do you feel any specific ways when you're thinking about these things?
I like that
Yeah, so
one.
these are just a
I need to do that
few.
one.
When someone asks you who you are, what do you say?
Mm.
Within the previous answer, did you include your name, age, and job title? Do you think that's who you truly are, or are you more than that? And then it goes to the third, if you had to explain who you are without using your name, age, and job title, parents, significant other, where you live, etc., what would you say? So
Ooh.
take out all the physical aspects and then find a way to describe yourself. A lot of
This
times.
was something that
Go
came
ahead.
up when we did our intros for this podcast, and I was like,
Mhm.
how do we introduce
I
ourselves?
know. Yeah. So, but it's hard. Like words, a lot of times devalue what we feel and what we try to express. But it's, I mean,
Yeah.
but it is something to think about. Like, who are you beyond all these physical things that like, you're responsible for?
Mhm. I love that. I need to
Mm.
journal more.
I do too. I do it more so just to like purge and release or like my affirmations. I don't like I used to journal. I feel like my memory's slipping sometimes. I should just journal what I do every day so I remember, but
Same. Same. All right. Anything else?
I don't have anything else.
I don't either, except for that I highly recommend this book. I'm sure it's price right here, $16. Very cheap. I'm sure you can get it on Amazon or wherever books are probably sold.
Love that. Well, thank you everybody today for listening. You can find us on all social media platforms.
Yes. Make sure to like, subscribe, share us with people that you love.
Namaste.
Namaste.